Hello everyone, Wicked Gaming here again to talk about DarkStar manufacturing and how to craft upgrade weapons. So, we are going to stay in the back room this time. First, there are 4 benches for weapon crafting. There is the weapon crafting bench. You should be familiar with this by now from crafting quantum harnesses and doing research. Next is the ammo crafting. All of the base game vanilla recipes for ammo crafting have moved to this bench, and they now yield 20 times the ammo for the same ingredient cost. You can also craft primers and magnetic diodes to craft your ammo with, in addition to crafting volatile ammo when we get there. Next up is the weapon enhancement bench. This is where you turn any vanilla weapon into a Mark II version of that weapon. And then the vial weapon crafting bench, where you can turn any Mark II weapon into a Mark III weapon, which converts a ballistic, this only works for ballistic weapons, but it'll convert any ballistic Mark II weapon into a particle beam Mark III weapon. That is why it only works for ballistic. It's adding energy damage to a ballistic weapon. So, without further ado, let's grab our slates and talk about unlock levels and everything else, because this one gets a little bit more painful. All right, so before we get too deep into the weeds, let me explain that with weapon crafting and any of these crafting, all it's doing is giving you the vanilla version of the gear, unmodified by the mod. Because of that, that means that when you craft a weapon in the DarkStar weapon crafting bench, it's just spawning one as if you would use the console command to give it to yourself. And anybody who has played on PC and used console commands to issue themselves weapons is fully aware that the quality level that it comes out of those commands with is totally random. So you can run the command 1 second and get an advanced Varun Inflictor, for example. The next second you might get a refined Varun Inflictor, or you might get an advanced that is modified and has a scope on it. Any of that stuff is all variable. It just rolls a random weapon with the ID that you have requested. Same thing is happening when you craft them, and that is problematic for balance. The reason is, in our early testing, we found that even a weapon that starts dropping at level 1, like the Kraken, when you went to go craft it in here at level 1, it was even up to level 10 or whatever. It was able to give you a relic version of that weapon, which is A, overpowered for the level that you could craft it at, but B, it made it so that even though you would try and convert it into an enhanced or a Mark II version, it locked certain components of the weapon as unmodifiable because they were beyond your level reach. They were beyond your ability to craft that high. So we had to bring it down a bit. We had to lock it down so that it wasn't instantly overpowered for some player that just happened to run to this one crafting bench, and then B, make it more fluid and less locking you out of weapons as possible. So to get into what that means, let's look at our slate. So if I look at the weapon crafting unlocks, AA99, that weapon, you can craft it at level 104 once you have weapon internals 1. Now that's the only research that you have to do to be able to craft a weapon from scratch. But that level, yes, it's high. That isn't what I desired. That was what was necessary. So the reason is that an AA99 normally doesn't start dropping until you're level 19 or you're fighting level 19 content. The relic quality tier for AA99 unlocks at level 104. In order to prevent you from basically messing your save up by giving yourself access to a relic AA99 at level 2, for example, or level 19, we had to lock the weapon crafting so that it was equivalent level requirement to when relic would unlock for that weapon. Now that doesn't mean you can't enhance the AA99. If you get an AA99 in your possession, you can create a Mark II version of it at level 19. You can create a Mark III version of it at level 24, as long as you've done those research required for those two things. You don't have to be level 104 to manipulate an AA-99. You just have to be level 104 to craft one from raw components. And that is for game balancing reasons. So, I won't go through every weapon in here. Note that this is 9 pages of when levels unlock for which type of crafting. And we'll just leave that at that. Next up would be the quality unlocks. This is where you're going to get full detail on why, when, where, and how. So, as you can see, that AA-99, yep, level 19 is when they start dropping. Level 29 is when the AA-99 can be calibrated in the base game quality files. So I maintain that. Same thing with refined. It's 39. And advanced is at 49. Now, no weapons in the game had superior quality at all in the base game files. This mod adds superior to all weapons. It also adds advanced to the 4 or 5 that didn't have advanced in the game files, like the Eon. You can now get them at advanced. You can get all weapons at superior and unrivaled and relic. And yes, that does mean, by the way I just worded that, you might have picked up on the fact that these weapons are actually possible to get at relic quality, even as a normal AA-99. It doesn't have to be Mark II. It doesn't have to be Mark III. I added the quality tiers to all vanilla weaponry because I didn't need to touch the weapon files to do that. I touched the quality tiers any file for each weapon and added advanced when needed, superior for all of them, unrivaled for all of them, and relic for all of them, with the proper level scaling for those quality tiers. So yes, you'll be able to run into an NPC on, say, Fermi 3 at a point of interest that might be able to drop a relic AA-99. And yes, that will hurt. The AA-99's base damage at advanced with no weapon modifications, no perks, no skills increasing its damage is 44 damage. At relic, it's over 90. So, you will want to be more careful when exploring. But yes, you can acquire an AA-99 that is relic at as low a level as you can withstand and survive the content. That said, once you convert it to a Mark II, it's going to revert back down to standard quality level, and you'll have to use the quality researched unlocks to change its quality back up. So, as I said with the spacesuits, helmets, and backpacks, if you were trying to craft a relic Mark III AA-99, you better be level 109 with a lot of research complete, or you're not going to be able to do it. So, use this list, this 11 pages of information on when different quality tiers unlock to track down and keep tabs on when things unlock. This is useful information even for just what you might expect to loot from a corpse or from a world. You can scan through this list and pick up on, I'm in a level 75 system. I can start seeing advanced negotiators. I might even start seeing advanced Mark III negotiators drop from bosses. Oh, this boss is level 98 elite. He might actually, because they get a bonus to their drop levels, he might drop an unrivaled Mark III negotiator. So, useful information for all around, but to jump back into just a game example and stop overwhelming you with data, let's craft a weapon. So, knowing that this character is well over level 270, I can craft any weapon in the game. Let's use the Kraken as an example, because the Kraken is craftable the earliest at level 81. That is when relic Krakens start to appear. So I'll craft a normal Kraken. You can see the ingredients here: polymer, adhesive, iron, aluminum, and lubricant. And that gives me a vanilla Kraken. Unmodified by the mod. It is a normal Kraken you can find anywhere in the game. So there we are. Now, as I said, it grants you a random quality. That's how I got refined. That's why it was locked down the way it was. So now let's go and see the weapon crafting bench. It's a standard Kraken, so that's the wrong bench. It's a standard Kraken, so I'm going to see the standard things. There's one little caveat here. I go to my Kraken. He's not a Mark II. He's not a Mark III. I can do the normal weapon mods. There's no quality listed here. There's the internal. I can craft the skin, because this mod adds the ability to do that. So all weapon skins can now be crafted here, even if you haven't unlocked them through the quest yet. And then I can socket the DarkStar proprietary legendaries on this weapon if I choose to. I'm not going to choose to, but that's the only ones I have access to. I can't do the standard legendaries here at all. I have to create a Mark II or a Mark III weapon to do that, to get access to those. So, in order to fully unlock this weapon, I am going to turn him into a Mark II version at the Weapon Enhancement bench. Scroll down, I see my Kraken Mark II recipe, which requires a Kraken. Hit craft. It also requires that enhanced weapon manufacturing research. Here it's going to consume the Kraken and give me a Kraken Mark II. Click. That is done. Now I can go over to the weapon bench. And I'm not going to fully modify it, just going to show you. I still have all the standard weapon mods. I now have access to the quality, and I can change that. And I have access to all of the weapon legendaries. Now these are the ranged weapon legendaries. Melee weapons have different legendaries. Okay, but I'm not done. This is a ballistic weapon. It fires normal physical bullets. It doesn't do energy damage. It only does physical damage. So here's that Kraken. You see physical 11. Now I'm going to change that Kraken Mark II into a Kraken Mark III. Notice that this requires DarkStar weapon ... If I click on that, you'll see more of the name, weapon particle ... It still truncates. But that is that weapon particle core that I told you you can construct at the weapon crafting bench in my first video in this series. So if you need one of these, you have to have done the research to unlock them. But if you need one of these, you can craft it at the weapon crafting bench. It is not inexpensive. It is definitely expensive, but it's worth it, because wait till you see what this Kraken Mark II turns into. Confirm. Mark III added to inventory. And without going to the weapon crafting bench yet, here's that Mark III. You can see the damage jumped to 15 from 11, and the energy damage is now 7. So with each step, Mark II weapons do 2 points more damage, base damage, than their non-Mark II versions, equivalents. And the Mark IIIs get a damage jump as well. This went from 11 to 15 with 7 energy. That is also denoting the fact that this weapon requires 5 additional levels to wield the different quality levels over the Mark II. So, now what can I do with this weapon? Well, I can do everything I could with the Mark II, but I also have access to one more thing, which is Particle Core Amplifier. So watch the damage up at the top left. It's 14.9 and 7.5. I jump up to this amplified particle core, and you can see the energy damage just skyrocketed. So that's really cool. Now I'm going to go and change this relic quality. Yes, the energy scales a little more poorly than the physical, but that's why that amplified core shot it up so much in levels. All right, so now at Relic, with nothing else installed, I haven't done any weapon mods. I just have the amplified core and the Relic quality. I'm at 134.2 and 141.6, and this is a full auto weapon. So now let's do some more modifications. I'll do the long barrel, or actually I'll do the suppressor, and then laser sight. I'll do reflex sight because that's cool. Muzzle, we'll do large muzzle brake. Also notice the weight is 0.84 because it's relic quality, and the weight goes down with relic quality. So this standard magazine will go with Gutbuster rounds. Internal, high powered. So now we're at 177 and 187. And then we're left with nothing else to do but skin. We'll do the clean skin. There's the dirty. There's the clean. Dirty. Clean. Clean just has better colors. It's darker black, brighter reds. And then everything else is down to our legendaries. Now, let's talk weapon legendaries real quick before I apply these. Yes, you have access to the standard legendaries like Anti-Personnel, Bashing, Berserker, Cornered, Exterminator, Furious, Instigating, etc. Now, there are DarkStar specific legendaries listed here. Quad mag. Look at the jump in the magazine size, 25 to 100. Right? That is twice as good as extended mag. Then we have all of these other ones that combine things. I'm looking real quick. Okay, so these require scaling levels of unlocks, whereas the maximum or the weakest is the spotter and scout. So you'll see spotter down here requires the legendaries, scout requires legendaries, and they also have level requirements. And then there's another slate that explains that, but also high level. Ebon Guard is the maximum one. So this one area of this mod, these DarkStar proprietary legendaries. This is the only place where New Game Plus enters this mod. At no point did anything else I've covered in any of these videos, require you to have been through New Game Plus. Until now. These DarkStar proprietary legendaries, several of them require New Game Plus trips. Not all of them do. Several do, though. And the one that is the biggest offender is Ebon Guard. Because look at what Ebon Guard provides you. This is the list of everything it combines. That's what that one legendary enchantment is giving you just by applying it. And this, as a result, has a very stiff requirement, which we'll go into in a minute. But I'm going to create an Ebon Guard Kraken. This is what I would consider a completely end-game Kraken. So now let's see what it looks like in my character's hand. Where is it? Where is it? Kraken. And I don't have the ammunition. So, yep, out of rounds very quickly because I need the ammunition. So what does it fire? Well, it fires 6.5 millimeter volatile. That's what that VOL is. 6.5 millimeter volatile. Well, to make that, I have to have 6.5 millimeter normal rounds. Let's look and see how many I can create if I have any 6.55 on me. 6.5 millimeter MI array. Volatile, there it is. 6.5 millimeter volatile. When I can craft it, it'll give me 300 of them, but I'm lacking resources. So as you can see over here, this says I need the 6.5 millimeter CT rounds. I need 120 for one combined. I also need light particle fuse and supercooled magnets. So let's go create the 6.5 millimeter CT standard rounds. Here they are. That uses small primer, which I can also craft here. I'm going to create tons of these. And then I'm going to go down. How many light particle fuse? I don't have any diodes. I can create diodes, but let's see how many of these I can make before I do that. 6.5 millimeter volatile. Looks like I can get 16 combines. There you go, 4,800 rounds added. Now, you can see my bottom right corner says I have 4,800 ammo for the Kraken. I can reload. There we are. 75 rounds in the chamber. There we are. And this is why you want one of these. These are phenomenal. So, let's talk... Sorry, did not mean to open that window. Let's talk about the proprietary legendaries as our final piece of data for this mod instructional series. So, just a warning, these are experimental. While they worked in testing, you should consider these prototype enchantments and most certainly over the top in many cases. There is, so far, one known issue. If you install one of these legendaries and your weapon mods lock or disappear from your list of customizations, do not use that legendary and please report it to Wicked Gaming. This only popped up once during initial testing for a single player in the test crew, and it was on the Envoy enchantment. And I can confirm right now verbally this has been fixed. I just haven't updated the slate. However, here we go. Why did I say these are potentially over the top and definitely have the stiffest requirements? Well, first let's go over the first few have no extended requirements. You can benefit from doing the DarkStar proprietary legendary research right away, as long as you have special projects 4, because DarkStar Ground Assault is the opposite of Space Adept. I don't know a single person that likes Space Adept, but I know a lot of you would probably like the reverse of that, where you get plus 30% damage on planets and minus 15 in space. So that unlocks here. You can do that now. Next would be Quad Mag. That's that 4 times your weapon's magazine size. And then Ultra Rapid, which is twice as strong as Rapid. So those 3 unlock as long as you have the skills to wield them. In the case of Ground Assault, you just need Special Projects 4, no level requirement, no NG Plus requirement. And for Quad Mag, you need Special Projects 4 with Rapid Reloading 2. Ultra Rapid, you need Special Projects 4 with Sharpshooting 1. I think that's pretty fair and relatively balanced considering the research you need to do. And you can see here what the cost in materials is. 4 quantum harnesses is the base cost for Ultra Rapid, 2 for Quad Mag, and 2 for Ground Assault. And then we start getting into the named group of enchantments. So Spotters is the lowest level, and the Spotters 1 requires level 10, 2 requires 15, and 3 requires 20. And this is where you kind of see the pattern will form. Each one of these named groups, DarkStar Spotter set, DarkStar Scout set, etc., will jump up in a few levels, and each legendary rank, 1, 2, and 3, will be 5 levels above each other. So 10, 15, and 20. By level 20, you have the full Spotter set unlocked, and you can see kind of here what it does. So this is a weaker version of Furious. This one is a half-powered Rapid, and then this one adds Chameleon to your weapon. These are more for flavor flair. They aren't going to be OP by any means. They may end up being some of the cheapest enchants that you can do, because the research for this, it's one research unlocks multiple enchantments, so multiple legendaries, so you may want to start with this one just to give yourself a leg up. But next up would be the Scouts set, which is level 30, 35, and 40. Those are where you start seeing a little bit stronger things. So this has a weaker instigating, half-powered DarkStar Ground Assault, and then combined Chameleon and Titanium for the third one. Then the Envoy set starts. This is where the level requirements start climbing. This one requires level 50, 55, and 60, and it starts with a combination of anti-personnel and instigating, so already nicely powerful. Envoy 2 is Rapid and Acrobat combined. Yes, Acrobat from Armor is now on Envoy enchant. And then Envoy's Confidence, which combines Chameleon and Demoralizing. So a nice little trio to get your character going, and again, still does not require New Game Plus. Then we get into the Agent, and this is where we're going to start requiring New Game Plus. Agent requires level 70, 75, and 80 with at least one New Game Plus trip. Agent is where we start seeing triple legendary combinations and everything else. I won't go through all of them, except to say that the very last one, Ebon Guard, requires level 120, 125, and 130, respectively, with 20 or more New Game Plus trips. So in order to unlock the most OP enchantment in the game for weapons, you already have to be OP. And there we have it. So feel free to peruse this to learn when things unlock, to give yourself a special treat for pushing the end game. Make sure that you do your research as described in the first video. Make sure that you are referring back to this video series if you have questions about how to do apparel crafting enhancement, armor crafting and enhancement, weapon crafting and enhancement, how vial weapons work. And make sure you take advantage of the free clothing that I piled around here for your benefit. And yeah, have a great day. If you have any more questions, visit the website, read the slates, read the terminal, come on over to Discord. We will not ridicule you for not reading the manual, but in all fairness to everybody that helps me answer these questions, please read the manual. I wrote it 3 times. I put it in 3 places. The information is here. I would appreciate it. My moderators and my helpers would appreciate it. But thank you for giving my mod a try. I hope you enjoy it and have a blast playing Starfield. Peace.